Thank you. Good morning. My name is Shira Lev. I'm the CEO of the Israeli National Digital Agency, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges that we have. I don't have a clicker. Wait a second. How do I switch slides here? תודה רבה. רגע. Okay. So we'll start with a very short introduction to what we do. I need help from production up there. Okay, so the National Digital Agency is the government authority responsible for leading the government into utilizing new technologies, being better, being smarter, providing better services. We do this through the use of technology, digital data, cybersecurity within the government, and service provision. How do we improve services to the people and the businesses of Israel? And the National Digital Agency provides digital infrastructure, which is today the 5th most attacked organization in the world. So I'm going to give you a little bit of what's on our mind. What are the challenges that we see as an enterprise dealing with today's landscape? What are we tasked with? What are we supposed to do in order to create a cybersecurity shield for the government? And I want to thank Gabi, who spoke before, who leads the Israeli National Cyber Directorate. They provide guidance to the entire Israeli, the entire ecosystem, and they are what we lean on in order to get professional leadership, and then take that and integrate it into what the government itself needs to do. So what do we do in the government? We help provide policy for government ministries. We help get attention, which is a very difficult issue. How do we get all of the government ministry CEOs on this? How do we get them to focus, provide attention, be engaged with providing their internal organizations with the best possible cybersecurity defense infrastructure and mechanisms they can? How do we prevent and defend all of the government infrastructure, combining the different threats that face different ministries, education, welfare, health ministries? Each has separate and different threats that we need to address, looking at it from a cross-governmental perspective. And the third is crisis management. When we're already in an event, when we're in an incident, when we're under attack, what do we do? How do we provide the best defenses possible? We're in a currently all the time dynamically changing landscape. And the main factors that are shaping this are the cloud. We're in transition from our previous on-prem infrastructure to cloud infrastructure. We're at war, as was mentioned extensively by previous speakers, and this impacts our security landscape. And we're also in a very hyperdrive, dynamic change, facing new threats and new opportunities from artificial intelligence, and all these are factored in to what we need to face today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what are the key challenges? I'm going to skip this and give a brief inside look at what we face. So the first challenge, I call this the secure cloud illusion. And people tell us, move to the cloud, all your problems will be solved. Everything will be perfect. It's so well defended. You have this magnificent gate and everything will be secure. But then you look to the side a little bit, or you try to bypass this wonderful secure gate, and you see that the whole infrastructure is very, very exposed. And we have new dangers, new problems that we didn't have to face on-prem. We're actually in a much more exposed environment than we are on-prem. We do have new tools and new capabilities that are not available and will not be available to us in the legacy on-prem environment, but we need to work much, much harder than we imagined. We imagined, no, moving to the cloud, it would be a challenge, but in the end, it would be worthwhile and not that difficult. And it turns out it was a lot more difficult than we thought. It took us to create the national government infrastructure, or our landing zone environment, to secure the government ministries. We thought it would be 6 weeks of intense work. It took us 1.5 years to get to something that we feel is moderately secure. It's not even top of the line, full-blown. We don't yet have the entire cloud circled with fences and gates that secure us. We're still semi-exposed, and I think that this is part of moving to the cloud, is understanding the new risks and the fact that the native environments really provide us with crap. Sorry to be so blunt and direct. We need to add on additional layers of tools and defenses and products in order to be able to provide even the level that we were accustomed to in the past in the on-prem environment. Another challenge that the cloud brings upon is distributed configuration. We used to live in a world where we had a few select elite people that were guarding our organization. They were in charge of all of our security applications, and they knew their work, and only they would touch any kind of configuration in the security environment. But now we're in a place where every last DevOps engineer is having a significant impact on how we defend our organization. We have many, many, many people touching these security configurations. Even if they're not defined as security configurations, they expose us, and they're very significant in the way we design the system. And this brings us to a new world where we have to devise security as code. Same as in the cloud infrastructure, we have infrastructure as code, and we're building configurations as code, and we're sharing them across organizations and teams. We need to be able to do this with our security mechanisms. We need to be able to provide this as infrastructure. We need to be able to defend our security configuration in and of itself in order to provide adequate cyber defense. Artificial intelligence is another challenge. It's especially vulnerable. People are especially vulnerable to artificial intelligence, and I'll tell you about one of the bots that was charged with trying to getting into a certain website, and he needed to pass a CAPTCHA, which is theoretically designed to only enable people to get through. So he went on Reddit, on a website where you can buy services, and he asked someone to enter the CAPTCHA for him, and the bot would pay him for it. So the person was a little suspicious. He said, "What? Why do you need me to do this? Are you a bot?" He says, "No, I'm visually impaired. I'm blind. I can't see well, so I need your help with this." And the person said, "Okay, I'll do that for you." It's pretty easy to get past our human defenses. We're not very sophisticated, and AI is getting more and more sophisticated and better able to overcome our defenses. And this is just a picture of an AI trying to get the keys to the house from a person, trying to get the keys into our organization from our employees, from our vendors, is not that difficult. And apparently, what research is saying is that we see AI more and more as an advantage to the attackers than as an advantage to us as defenders. Now, this is becoming a major issue for us. monitoring. How do we see what's going on in our environments? And this was trying to capture the idea that we have extensive on-prem environments on the right. We are very experienced at monitoring them, seeing what's going on and what we need to do. And now we have new cloud environments, multi-cloud environments that we need to protect. And the major challenge is how do we see the full bigger picture with information coming from all of these different environments and flowing back to them. We need to give insights and indicators back to the various environments, back to the various networks of government ministries, both on-prem and on the cloud. We need to see how this all connects, how this all works together. Again, the National Cyber Directorate is working to make this a priority on the national level. Technology debt, if we look at events that we've seen during the past few months, during the war, most of the attacks use old technology. When we're moving forward and we're running towards the cloud and AI and new tools, but we're weighed down by having to carry on our backs these old legacy technologies. This was trying to describe a mainframe computer, but we have many vendors and just outdated versions of software that was maybe implemented just a few years ago, but since we're not necessarily updating it fast enough and it's not necessarily maintained, it's holding us back, and it's a very significant security breach, which we have to see how we overcome. While we're moving to the cloud, we have to clear the ground and clear all of this legacy in order to move forward in a secure way. We talked a lot about, Gabi talked a lot about how we're dealing with the war. We're used to seeing in Israel every year on April 7th is Iranian Jerusalem Day, and it became an international day of attacking Israel. And we're used to seeing this spike in the number of attacks that we face as a government, as a country. Since October 7, we've been seeing this chart just moving up all the time. It's in an upward position. More and more attacks coming from both state actors and other pro-Palestinian or anti-Israel groups that are collaborating in order to attack Israel and Israeli sites and government websites or services. This is becoming one of the war fronts. We're fighting this war, not just physically on the ground, we're fighting this war in the cyber realm as well. And if we just say one challenge for looking forward, we understand today the threat of quantum computing, which is basically, if and when it comes about, it will be able to leap forward past our current defenses. And if we're able to compute in the capacities and speeds that quantum computing is designed to enable, we won't be able to use our current encryption-based tools, which are most of our cybersecurity tools, and we have to look forward to this day, this post-quantum era, where we need to rethink the way we secure our infrastructure. So, going back to the start, our mission is to help the government move forward, provide better services, work in a smarter way. We need to do this while securing the government, while making sure that we make progress, but we're not exposed, we're not risking all of our government and citizen information in a way that is dangerous, and still providing cutting-edge technology and cutting-edge tools to everyone within the government and everyone that is receiving services from the government. So thank you very much, and I wish everyone a safe return home.